Tensions soar as world leaders urge. Calm after Israeli strikes on Iran. The Middle East was rocked early Friday morning as Israeli airstrikes targeted Iran, setting off alarms across the globe and triggering urgent calls for calm from world leaders. Israel's strikes were reportedly aimed at crippling Iran's nuclear capabilities, and according to Iranian sources, some of the country's top nuclear scientists and military officials lost their lives in the attack. Though the United States stayed out of the operation, President Donald Trump had been briefed ahead of time. "Our focus is clear. We're not involved in these strikes," stated Secretary of State Marco Rubio. "Our number one priority is ensuring the safety of American forces in the region." The U.S. has long emphasized diplomacy over direct confrontation when it comes to Iran's nuclear ambitions, working behind the scenes to revive a long-stalled nuclear agreement. In response to the assault, Iran launched a counteroffensive, sending roughly 100 drones toward Israeli territory. Israel swiftly moved to intercept them and declared a state of emergency across the country. The sudden surge in hostilities has raised serious concerns that the conflict could spiral into a broader regional war, something many leaders fear would be disastrous in an already volatile area. Global reactions pour in. Now is the time for restraint. Former U.S. President Trump weighed in on Truth Social, warning Iran that both the United States and Israel are heavily armed and ready to act. He hinted that future military actions could be even more severe, urging Iran to come to the negotiating table before it's too late. Across the Atlantic, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer expressed deep concern and called for immediate de-escalation. "Stability in the Middle East must be our top priority," he posted on social media. "It's crucial that all sides pull back and recommit to diplomacy." Echoing those sentiments, UK Foreign Minister David Lammy warned that any further provocation could seriously threaten peace and stability across the region. France's Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot also urged restraint, emphasizing that all parties must work to avoid a wider conflict. "We support Israel's right to defend itself, but peace must be preserved through diplomacy," Barrett noted. Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz shared similar concerns, stating that Germany was prepared to use every diplomatic tool available to help ease tensions. "We stand by Israel's right to protect its citizens, but we also call on both parties to avoid actions that could destabilize the region even more," Merz said. He reiterated that the ultimate goal must be to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Asian and regional leaders speak out. Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim didn't hold back, condemning the Israeli strikes outright. "This kind of aggression only deepens the instability," he warned, urging countries with influence over Israel to step in and stop the violence. China also weighed in, offering to assist in de-escalation efforts and stressing the need for calm and dialogue. Russia, meanwhile, took a firm stance, blasting the strikes as unacceptable and labeling them as violations of international norms and the sovereignty of a United Nations member state. The UN and EU call for peace. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas described the situation as dangerous and emphasized that diplomacy remains the only viable path forward. She expressed readiness to support any efforts aimed at restoring peace. At the United Nations, Secretary General Antonio Guterres voiced deep concern over the strikes, particularly those targeting nuclear facilities in Iran. He called on all parties to exercise maximum restraint, especially given the ongoing nuclear discussions between Iran and the U.S. Middle Eastern voices urge ceasefire. In the Middle East, reactions were swift and strong. Saudi Arabia denounced the Israeli strikes as a blatant violation of Iran's sovereignty, calling the aggression a breach of international law. Though historically tense, Saudi-Iran relations had been warming since re-establishing diplomatic ties in 2023, making the attack particularly troubling. The United Arab Emirates echoed Saudi Arabia's concerns, highlighting the potential consequences for regional security. The UAE called on the United Nations Security Council to step in, urging for a ceasefire and a diplomatic resolution to prevent further bloodshed. Qatar's foreign ministry joined the chorus, condemning the strikes as a direct attack on Iran's sovereignty and a breach of international legal standards. Turkey added its voice too, demanding that Israel immediately halt any further aggression. We don't want more bloodshed in the Middle East, Ankara said firmly, underscoring the region's desperate need for peace over conflict. The world watches with bated breath. As drones fly, tensions rise, and military strategies unfold, the world stands on edge. Leaders across continents are urging a collective step back from the brink. Their message is clear. This is a time not for vengeance, but for wisdom. A time not for escalation, but for resolution. The Middle East has long been a hotbed of complex rivalries and fragile truces. Now, with every new strike and retaliatory move, the risk of full-blown war becomes more real. The hope is that diplomacy can still take the wheel before it's too late.
For full video, click related link below or like and subscribe this channel.